Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the R2F show. And our topic today is we're taking callers to come in. I'm going to post a link for you guys to call in, come on the show. You don't have to turn your cameras on if you don't want, but we want you guys to speak. We want to hear from you, especially from the Sufi community or anybody that knows more than us that can educate us on the question of what is Sufism, or how do we define what a Sufi is? So, in the meantime, we're going to just review some comments that's been left on various videos and give our response to them. But if you guys see the link in the chat, let's see. What is a Sufi? Click on the link and come on. You'll be backstage and we'll have to let you on. We're going to let one person on this time. We'll see if anybody has the courage to come on and explain to us respectfully what a Sufi is, because we would like to know. And I'll just say my position real quick is that there is no real definition of Sufism, right? You'll hear various definitions that will be given, but when you boil it down, it's either going to be something that doesn't exist differently than what Islam is already, which is why do we need to define Sufism, or it's going to be something that actually deviates away from Islam. There's only two options, right? It's either something that's redundant or something that's deviation. And that's my position. And I'll see how people will be able to come in and explain that to us, or what is the actual definition of a Sufi. Do you guys have any definitions that you'd like to share of what your understanding of what a Sufi is? I know Amr wanted to go on a ISO real quick. for low.
It's nothing crazy. Just that, at least from what I've understood and seen with the Sufi community as a whole, it seems to be like a one up each other type of thing. And so you can believe it started off good. Like, hey, I just want to not be tied to the world because we're more focused on the akhirah, right? So in theory, that's a good thing. But the asceticism became too extreme, and so if one Sufi really started off as a good cause, right, someone had to top him, because there's a million Sufi sheikhs, and so if one's claiming to do X, someone has to come above him and say I can do Y and Z. And I believe they're all trying to do better than each other. It's like, hey, I have 4 wins, so I have 18 wins. Like, okay, well, hold on, how'd you get to 18 wins? You only played 2 games, so that's kind of what Sufism is. Just like, hey, if you believe it, it's true.
So kind of like pretty much the Dragon Ball Z series was pretty much just every season. So it's just a new power, a new level,
a new power cliff. There's a brand new villain. It's Frieza. No, it's Mecha Frieza. It's the androids. It's like, all right,
Super Saiyan 2. Yeah, well, my shit goes Super Saiyan 5.
Yeah, he actually went to Shinron himself. Like, all right.
Yeah, exactly.
So, can y'all hear me all right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that don't sound like you in the.
Sound like I'm in
studio.
Oh, is it good? Okay.
The studio ready to go, mashallah.
Now, let me give some ammunition. Oh, I shouldn't say ammunition. Let me give some encouragement to our brothers, our Sufi brothers, or our Sufi apologist brothers, or our confused brothers. Okay, so now, no doubt, there's definitely going to be some Sufis watching. I think that's definitely a given. So, for those Sufis who are watching, but still have yet to hit the button and come on, why not? Do you believe, and this is the question, do you believe the Sufi path, tariqah, that you're on is the best? Is the best. Is the best thing for you? And if it's not the best thing, then why are you doing it? So let's first of all, let's go with the default, which is it's not the best. It's not even good. And so if you, because you haven't called in to share this great thing yet, I mean, just this thing, if some Christians that you had the time or whatever, and they were like us, reasonable, ain't gonna beat you up or anything, are willing to take in information and will change their position if the information is there. Imagine some Christians saying, Islam is wrong. Call in and prove it to us. I mean, I'll be on the line right there. Come on, and I rap with them as long as I had the time. So for the Sufis, Do you believe that this is the best route or the way to go? Your tariqah or just Sufism in general or whatever. If not, if you don't believe that, then why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? It's either because you found your forefathers doing it. That's just what people around you did.
Mm-hmm.
وإذا قيل لهم اتبعوا ما أنزل الله قالوا بل نتبع ما ألفينا عليه آباءنا. The people that when they're called to follow what Allah has sent down, they said, rather, we will stick to what our forefathers were doing. أولو كان آباؤهم لا يعقلون شيئا ولا يهتدون. Even though their forefathers were not guided and they didn't know. They didn't know what they were doing. They were clueless. Yeah. So if you to yourself say, well, I know Sufism is not the best way, but this is what I'm doing, then maybe you're one of those people. And Allah reprimanded those people that just followed their forefathers. They just followed their culture. They just followed people around them. So maybe the people who are watching but not calling, they're these people. Mm-hmm. They're just blindly following their forefathers and they have no clue. And Allah says not to do that. Or you know it's not the best way, but you're going to do it anyway because you're arrogant. And Rasulullah said, what about the arrogant person? The arrogant person will never enter Jannah. Why? Because that mustard seed of arrogance will prevent them. You cannot have it. And so we ask Allah to protect us all from arrogance and to fight against it. But Rasulullah told us what arrogance is. Rasulullah told us what arrogance is. Rasulullah said, arrogance is looking down on the people and rejecting the truth. So think about that. The Sufi who knows it's not the best thing to do. He knows he shouldn't be doing it, but he's going to do it anyway because, well, them Wahhabis, I'm not going to be no Wahhabi. I'm not going to be a Salafi or whatever it is, which we're neither. But you're looking down on them without evidence, without proof or whatever, or you're rejecting the truth because you know it's not the best. So you're just rejecting it. I'm just going to be a Sufi just because. Yeah. So maybe it's that way. You know it's not the truth. Either you're just going to blindly follow your forefathers, or you're going to just reject the truth and have the arrogance, which is very, very dangerous. Mm-hmm. Or maybe you're just a coward. Maybe you're just too shy and too timid. But as is well known as far as the religion, there's certain things that you cannot be shy about, and it's about your religion, about knowing and getting the information that's needed and necessary. You cannot be a coward. And you cannot be timid. And as one of my favorite shuyukh always says, Abu Tawbah, he says that timidity, being shy and being timid is not acting. It's not about being scared. You can be scared, you can be nervous or whatever, but it's about not acting in the moment when you should. You should do it. Yeah, I'm scared. Yeah, but I know I need to do it. So you do it. Being timid is not allowed in Islam. If something that you know you should do and you're capable and it's needed, and you don't do it, well, this is not allowed. So
what is courage? Courage is the opposite of that. Is when you are scared or feeling timid or about doing something, but you act when you're supposed to, regardless of those fears or inhibitions to resist doing that.
So what about the people? So these are the people who know Sufism is It ain't the way to go. I know I shouldn't be doing this. We do cover those people. What about the people who think to themselves, my tariqah is the best way. Sufism in general is the best way. It's the best way to lead to Allah, the best way to follow the messenger, X, Y, Z. If so, then why aren't you on? Sharing the good news, guiding people to a better way, to the best way. Because we ain't Sufis at all. Probably whatever the opposite of a Sufi is. That's
again, that depends on what the definition is.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Let me tone down. But basically, from what I, at least from the general understanding that I get of the Sufis,
from our understanding of what it is,
I ain't one of those. But if you say it's the best way, why are you not sharing the information? We are requesting the guidance to what should be the best way to get to the pleasure of Allah and to follow the messenger. So you don't want to share it. And so Allah already told us in Surah Al Imran. What's the ayah? وَإِذْ أَخَذَ اللَّهُ مِيثَاقَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ لِتُبَيِّنُنَّهُ لِلنَّاسِ وَلَا تَكْتُمُونَهُ. So to make it, Allah took the covenant from the people who were given the book to make it clear, make the book clear to the people, and don't hide it. فَنَبَذُوهُ وَرَاءَ ظُهُورِهِمْ وَاشْتَرَوْا بِهِ ثَمَنًا قَلِيلًا. And they threw it behind their backs and they sold it for a small price. So what is the price that you're selling the best way to Allah and His Messenger to? You're selling it for what? You don't want to get canceled by your people. You don't want, you know it's the best way, but what? People might say, hey, why are you talking to them? You can guide other people as Rasulullah said, the best, it's better than anything else is to guide a person to Islam. So you can take that and understand that if you guide us to a better way, then it's even better.
Yeah.
So we can
to do it.
Yeah, we could go on and on and on, but I would say, so if you are one of those people who believe you're on the best way, you're either not calling in because you want to hide the truth, like the people who were given the book before, they hid it, so they could get some sort of personal gain, for a small price, for a personal gain. So you're hiding it. You're being a coward in your house, on your couch, or wherever you are. You don't want to call in, or you're just scared, which we talked about being scared too. It's only one of those two things. Either you think it's the greatest thing ever, guide people to it, or you think that it's not, then you're wrong for still rolling with it.
You know what actually you just made me realize there's a contradiction, and because we had Kareem Kachanda on our show, and he was talking. One of the things that these groups do is they try to highlight the things that kind of make it so they're not a cult, right? So like one of the things he was trying to highlight, like, oh, we don't even recruit. Our sheikh doesn't even recruit. But isn't that a contradiction? If your sheikh is a wali of Allah and has this great guidance for mankind,
yep,
and like, but yeah, we don't want no one following us. That's a contradiction, because if this tariqah and this sheikh is so great and he has, the medicine to cure all these ills and get people on the right path and bring them closer to Allah and all this, why wouldn't you be recruiting? Right? Like, why wouldn't you try to go out and spread that message? Why wouldn't you be given dawah? Is dawah not just recruitment? Another way of recruiting? We want to recruit people to Islam, recruit people to the straight path. Hey, I have the right way. The way you're doing it is wrong, right? It's kind of like you're the only person who could see, and you're this Sufi up on the cliff, and you see all these blind people about to walk off the edge, and you're like, yeah, we don't recruit. See you guys later. Come on, it's a contradiction.
Yeah, I mean, even if you say, okay, even if you say it's people that are taking the long way, or a more difficult way to get to the destination or whatever, wouldn't you be like, hey, you know what? Instead of y'all going that way, I mean, this is an easier way. It's a better way. It's faster. It's less, trouble or whatever.
Yeah.
Or even if it's just better, huh? You see somebody, ordering something that they're allergic to, or that they're buying from one place when the actual the knockoff here, when the actual one is better and is for a better price. You'd be like, hey, listen, don't buy from there. Just go around the corner right here. This is the actual guy who's selling whatever. So there's plenty of examples. But if you're not actively trying to guide people and publicize and broadcast the group that you're in or what you're doing, then you either know there's something wrong with it, or you're very selfish and you don't care about the people. And that's not prophetic at all. That is not in the according to
not
the
very Sufi.
Not at all.
Oh yeah.
Because Allah says that He said, the Rasul in particular, but the messages Nadhiran wa Bashira, that they warn the people about what they need to stay away from and what they need to be careful about, and that they give people the good tidings, the glad tidings of You know what? Believing in Allah and being upon Tawheed and obeying Allah and seeking forgiveness from Allah will get you the reward and the blessings and the ni'mah that you will get. So what are you guys doing? You know, it's nothing prophetic about it, but you know.
And the thing is, it's not even like we're like trying to bash or like even really debate. I really want to hear how people define Sufism, because I've heard so many different definitions, and it's like they don't coincide. They either don't mean anything, or you know, we can go in any direction. But just come tell us what it is, what your understanding of it is. There's no wrong answers here. It's not like, oh, you're wrong. That's not what I mean. There's no wrong answers. We're sincerely asking for people to come and define what Sufism is, because I don't know how many times we have to say this. It's almost like we're guilty of, because we're just denying it so much. We're not Wahhabis. We're not Salafis, and we're not part of any sect. We're Muslims. We are Muslim. Nahnu Muslimin. That's what we are. We're Muslims. That's it. So,
and yeah, I can say, me personally, I have butted heads with many super Salafis, neo Salafis, real Salafis, fake Salafis, Salafis in a cult, Salafis who think they're not in a cult, all types of Salafis, that I have, had the pleasure of butting heads with. So I'm definitely not one of those. You wouldn't put me in that category. We are people who follow, what Allah says in the Quran, what Rasulullah said and did and told us to follow. And those people who He's told us to follow, which were Khulafa Rashidin and those generations that, were closest to Him. So I tell people, get as close to the message as far as what you believe. If you can believe exactly what is in the Quran, go right ahead and act on it. And if you can believe exactly what is said in the Hadith, go ahead and believe in that and act on that. And then after that, if it is something that's not covered in one of those two, then you act on and believe in what the Khulafa al-Rashidin, believed in and acted on, and what they did. Then you'll be safe, because Rasulullah told us to follow his sunnah and the sunnah of the Khulafa al-Rashidin. So then after that, he said the best generations are his generation, and ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُم, then those two generations that follow them. So those three generations, Rasulullah, his generation, the generation that followed them, and then that third generation. After that, everybody else is in a similar category, and that is they should be basing their religion off of Quran, Sunnah, and those three generations. And the strongest evidence is the people who are closest to Rasulullah, as possible. And that's what we believe in, and that's what we follow. We don't get into these sects and groups and all that other stuff, regardless of what they call them. Call yourself a Sufi, a Salafi, whatever. We don't really get down like that.
It's amazing, because when you get into the sectarianism and you say, I am whatever, right? There's a psychological thing that happens, right? And it's especially risky when you're talking about Sufi cults, or even the Salafi cult, right? Or Sufi groups. Because, especially with the Sufi groups, when you're saying, I am Naqshbandi, Qadri, Shidali, whatever, all the different Deobandi, Barabat, whatever those Sufi groups are, this is, when you say I am something, you're making a claim about your identity, right? And now these Sufi tariqas, what makes the tariqa? An identity, a human individual. So now you're attaching your identity with somebody else. And it'd be one thing to I'll attach your identity to, like you said, one of the Khalifa, one of the Sahaba, one of the Tabi'in, one of the Tabi'in. Still a little bit wrong that you're attaching your identity with that individual, because you should be attaching your identity to Allah and Rasul, right? Full stop. But when you attach your identity to anything that's Sufi, there's Name me one Sahaba or Tabi'in or Tabi'in that was a Sufi that started a tariqah. You won't be able to name one, right? So what you do is like say Mubarak, you start your Mubaraki tariqah, and I'm like, yeah, I like what he's saying, I like everything about him, and I seen him first time, I fell in love, man. I immediately wanted to hold hands and sway in unison with him. Not really. But anyway, once I do that, once I say I'm a Mubaraki, I now attach my identity with Mubarak. And now the thing that we hold on to the most in this world is what? Our identity.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're forced, like, I got to defend everything Mubarak does, everything he says, everything is right, because I now attach myself to him. And for my identity to be true, everything about him must be true.
True as well, yep.
You know what I'm saying? So now then when someone comes and says, but Mubarak says this, but Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said this, they're like, well, if I believe that, I'm losing my identity. But Allah said this, and you'll run into this all the time with these people that are in Sufi groups, that they're like, my sheikh said this, my sheikh said that, my tariqah said this, my scholar said this, because it even gets down to the point of like, these people that you have Hanafi cults, you have Shafi'i cults.
Yeah.
You have Hanbali cults where like, no, like this is the only way. Abu Hanifa was the greatest man and he had this opinion. And it's like, and it's funny about the Hanafi cult because they're not even following Abu Hanifa really. Like if you look into the history of it, actually not even following his opinions, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah, you got to be careful about what you attach your identity with. And as Muslims, we have to try our best to have our identity be Islam. Yeah. I am a Muslim. I submit to Allah. That's it. Simple,
And to pick it back off of what Jafar just said, one of the reasons why you are a Sufi or a Salafi or trying to find, because as humans, you want to be a part of a group, right? But you also want to be a part of a group that feels exclusive, right? That you feel like getting a reward for, right? And so somewhere deep inside you, being a Muslim, being a part of Islam is not enough. You need more than that, right? So you're looking to find other ways to, okay, I'm not just a Muslim, I'm also a Sufi Muslim, right? So I have a leg up on the competition. So that way, like when it's time for Qiyamah, right? I know for sure, listen, I'm getting in, all right? Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of misguided, right? The idea, yes, you should all, we all want to get to Jannah for those. That's the goal for every Muslim.
Yeah.
But you want to have a cheat code, right? It has to be an easy path to get there. And the path is already laid out for you. But that's, for you, it's like, dang, everyone gets there. I want to be exclusive. It's not how it works. And also, as a side note, don't you find it strange if you're a Sufi, right, that whenever someone provides you information that's contrary to your beliefs, right, why are they automatically a Wahhabi or a Salafiyah? Why? Every single time, like without fail, everyone's a Salafiyah, every single one.
Well, let me share this comment because it gets right into that concept, because these are comments left on our various videos, right? And you see the comment like this one here. It says, note, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam never called himself a Salafi either. I wouldn't over-focus on terms, and a lot of concerns are matters pertaining to fiqh that have already been addressed by classical scholars of the fiqh of the path. When in any episode did we start promote Salafism?
Right. Did we ever say that? Did we ever say that?
Never.
A Salafi?
Yeah, it's a default defense mechanism they go into when you say, oh, that is bad. And if it's talking about a Sufi or Sufism, they just start going into attacking Salafis or Wahhabis. Like, whoa, wait a minute. Whoa,
why did you have them for?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just the default, man. It's like I don't know that the even the Sufi Salafi clash, it really ain't really about fiqh. It's not even a fiqh issue most of the time. It's usually an aqeedah thing more than anything else. So this is the way. It's like you can't take on the criticism or the position of the point head on. You got to chase a red herring, or they have to move the goalpost a little, because if it stays right dead in the center, they'll never be able, like the discussion will end immediately. Yeah. Like if you just say, when they say anything, if you say, okay, start with Quran, what are you basing on? Oh, okay. Start with the sunnah. What hadith or action or whatever the prophet is. Most of it, either they won't have anything, so they'll just stop, or what happens is they'll try to base it off of some ayah or hadith that they have, but you will find that it will be canceled out or completely shown to be the opposite by several other ayahs and hadith.
Mm-hmm.
So if they keep the goalpost right in front of us and they don't move it, the conversation ends very, very quickly. Or they just, they pull that Musa card from their pocket, throw it, run.
Now wait. They actually have one more like just trap card, right? It's always I'll have you know, Shaykh al-Islam, Mujaddid of the century, Abu Taymiyyah, all right, was actually a Sufi. And then it's like they just run away with Shaykh al-Islam to be a Sufi. Like, hold on. How did you even get to that conclusion, first of all? And second of all, like, with all love and respect to the great Shaykh al-Islam, right? He's not part of the Sahaba. He's not part of the Tabi'i or the Tabi'i. So he is not infallible. So I need people to understand that, yes, he's a titan in Islam. Alhamdulillah. Allah bless him. But that doesn't just justify Sufism as a whole, even if he wasn't happen to be a Sufi.
And the thing is, it's actually an argument against them. Because you want to say, because you want to talk about Wahhabi, Salafi, right? You got Ibn Taymiyyah. So, and again, it goes back to the whole theme of this show. Define what a Sufi is.
Yeah.
Because technically, Ibn Taymiyyah was a Sufi. He actually is a Sufi sheikh. He was given the cloak of honor or whatever by the Qadri Tariqah. And who's one of the, when you think of, okay, they roasted, they debated Sufis, they battled them, they went to war against them, not physically, but verbally and intellectually. Most people are going to think of Ibn Taymiyyah, right? But guess what? According to one definition, if your definition of Sufism is that a Sufi sheikh gave you permission to carry on the tariqah.
Yes, he was the Qadri. Yeah,
he's the country sheikh.
Yeah,
Sufi sheikh.
Yeah, he is the one.
So think about that.
About 7th, 8th.
So we got another comment here. Let's come. I've got some comments in the chat by Joe Brown. We'll just cover these, and we do appreciate people commenting, but we do want to start getting people to call in as well and just have a conversation with us. But his first comment is, to me personally, just the universe is vast. So believe in a spiritual being such as Jesus or some mystical spiritual scenario. It's not all explained to us how everything in the universe works. Okay. What will we have proof of are the messengers in righteous living. It would be a good idea to share it so we can compare it to see if it's better for us, or at least see the point of view that persons that follow Sufism is taking, that not that it matters to you to know an approval fact. Okay. Unc said the sheikh that we were introduced was called Mujaddid, yet told his followers not to accept outsiders.
The reviver of the deed said, "Listen, I only need one teller. That's the only one I need."
Now, there you go. All you have to do is say, "Okay, in the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was there ever a time when he turned away followers?" And I know some people who who have some knowledge of the Sirah, they're gonna jump at this.
It was after Hudaybiyah.
That he turned away followers. They're gonna point to one or two things. Okay, so when so for instance, Sufi Sheikh says, don't want any followers. I'm not gonna take any followers, whatever. So what is he guiding you to? Is it to Islam? And listen, Rasulullah ﷺ said that the ulama, the scholars, are the inheritors of the prophets. They inherit that in a small way. Are they prophets? Are they getting revelation? No, but they are to carry the revelation. They are to carry the example. They are to carry the sunnah and spread it to the best of their ability, just like the messengers did. What the messenger said, they say. What the messengers called to, they call to that. What the messengers did, they do. What the messengers told people to stay away from, they say the same thing. They do the same thing. It's the same job. So if you're gonna say, hey, my sheikh says he's Mujaddid of the century or whatever, and for those people who don't know, that's supposed to be the best, sheikh or the reviver of Islam. Every 100 years or whatever one is supposed to come. So this person's supposed to be Mujaddid. He's doing the opposite of what Rasulullah did. Now they say, well, in the beginning, Rasulullah told, I can't remember the Sahabi's name, but he came, but he said, you can't necessarily follow me now. Go back to your people, and that's the best thing that you can do. However, that was in the early time of Islam. Islam is complete now. It's complete. Rasulullah also at one point in time, had to, flee from Mecca, deceive the Quraysh, go one way, hide in a cave, then just to go back the other way to Medina. But that was when Islam was building. But Islam was complete. By the time Rasulullah got done, everything that you need to do and follow is there. Okay, so that's the one thing. Now they might say in Treaty of Hudaybiyah, right? That was a treaty at that point in time while Islam was building and while they were grinding. And so if one of yours, it didn't say turn away from being Muslim or turn them away from even following the messenger, but they were not allowed to leave their homeland and or their community and go and join the Muslim community. But that was for the wisdom of Allah. They wound up, overwhelmingly winning that thing. And this was part of the wahi, part of the revelation from Allah, that was something that, Rasulullah was able to do, but that doesn't apply to your sheikh. So if your sheikh is doing the job of the messengers, he shouldn't be turning anyone away. As far as some, what is it? It's not like he's has, a house that he's fitting everybody into, and he's saying, well, I'm at capacity. No. Like the hotel sign, no vacancy. Sorry,
no vacancies.
I gotta throw one of these talibs off the tariqa before I can accept another one in. I'm sorry. No,
if they were smart, they would auction off spots, right?
Yeah, every year.
How much donations you give?
Yeah, like the sports teams do the personal seat licenses, right? Season tickets or whatever. Hey, listen, price done gone up. Price it up. Yeah.
Yep. So we got a question come in that says, question. So when you ascribe to a Sufi order, you are usually connecting your identity to the person who started the group or their ways and teachings. Salafis attribute their following to the forefathers, those of the past, meaning the first 3 generations. So what is wrong with that? Anybody got an answer?
Which one is he talking about? He's talking about Salafis?
So basically the question is, because I just said, like, when you subscribe to or take bayat to a Sufi order, you're connecting your personnel to a personality. But the Salafis connect to the personalities of the 3 generations or the forefathers. So what is wrong with connecting with personalities? We touched on it a little bit, but go ahead.
So when a person asks you, hey, hey, what are you? Can you identify yourself? I'm a Muslim. That is 100% enough. If I say, hey, I'm a Salafi, when did Rasulullah say, I am a Salafi? I know they say that he said to Fatima radiallahu anha that I'm the best Salaf for you. The Salafi is gonna be, that he's not saying he's a Salaf. A Salafi.
yeah.
He's saying it's a word in the Arabic language, and it's a word that is used. And this is what I try to tell all these Salafis who want to say that, to make themselves this group or to ascribe to everyone says, hey, we're Salafis. I'm saying, listen, Rasulullah was told to follow. Who's the Millata Ibrahim Hanifa? Follow Ibrahim. Follow his way. And so Rasulullah had the clear opportunity. He had a Salaf that came before him that Allah told him to follow, which was the way of Ibrahim. But he never said, I'm a Salafi. I'm Salafi Ibrahimiyya or whatever. Now, he didn't say that. He just said, we're Muslimin. We're the Muslims. We're the believers. These are the things that you call yourself. And so to answer the question, I do not find anywhere where Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam himself called himself a Salafi. When asked about, he said, وَأَنَا أَوَّلُ الْمُسْلِمِينَ وَأَنَا مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. نَحْنُ Muslimun. We are the Muslim. That's what he said. So that's what I'm going to call myself, a Muslim. What did Allah call us? He called us the Muslims. He called us the believers. Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu. That's what Allah called us. So if you want to say, hey, we're believers, that's okay. If you can find me where Allah called the people who follow Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and those that adhere to Islam, did he call them Salafis? I'll be the first one to say, hey, I'm a Salafi too, but it's not there. Allah didn't say it. So that's the first strike. I know we're talking about Sufism, but how do the Salafis take it? That's the strike.
I plan on doing a show with the same thing as define a Salafi.
Yeah,
like I want to do the same thing. Yeah.
So, but I mean, hey, we, maybe we'll get some Salafis too. But just,
they're ready to rock.
Yeah, hey,
at all times.
So Allah didn't mention it. Rasulullah didn't mention it. The Khulafa al-Rashidin didn't mention it. The first three generations did not call themselves Salafis. Find me one that say, hey, we're Salafis. Now, so that's already one strike. I don't find any to ascribe and to call yourself a group. When say, who are you guys? We're the Salafis. This is now to use it as a description. Mm-hmm. Some people say, I've heard that say, and I've heard some super Salafis even say, hey, we're not using it as a noun. We're using it as a kind of a description of, what our belief system is. That way we can differentiate ourselves from the deviant groups, the Sufis and Asharis and Maturidis and all these other
Bundis. Yeah.
And I'm saying, listen, if someone wants to call themselves a certain group, that's how you can identify them. You have the Muslims, and then someone has to give themselves a label, then you can identify them as deviant. And if you see the deviants, you give the deviant the label. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, that's a deviant, whatever name you want to put there. But for us, we're the Muslims. It's the best name. It's the one that Allah chose for us. It's the one He picked for us. The believers, the Muslims. We don't need the Salafi label. Rasulullah didn't say it, so I'm not saying it. His companions didn't say it, so I'm not saying it. They had Salaf to follow. They had messengers to follow. Mm-hmm. Prophets who Allah told them in Quran to follow. They never said, hey, these are our Salaf. We're Salafis of these people. No. They said we're Muslims. And if that's not good enough, then that means that perhaps you see yourself as too good to be a Muslim with some other people who have some issues. Yeah. Guess what? Some of Jahannam is going to have Muslims in it. People who say, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. And for whatever reasons, they wound up there. May Allah protect us from it. But guess what? Those are Muslims too. So if it's good enough for Allah to not say, okay, there's Muslims, and then there's this different sects, and within them, Allah didn't say that. Everybody's a Muslim, and there's grades within it. If someone does deviant actions or activities, you can label them that, hey, this is a deviant for whatever, and let them have a label, an extra name. But we keep in the name Muslim because this is the one Allah gave us.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Oh. Go ahead. Okay, I was gonna say, and then for the Sufi side, right? The reason why you should want to follow the Sahabi and the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, right, is because, as Marcus mentioned, Jafar mentioned, the people that they follow are all prophets, right? You're following your sheikh who followed another sheikh, who followed another sheikh. And so the isnad doesn't lead itself like all the way back to Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It's not going to. Whereas you already have a direct link there. You can directly go to Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and follow his teachings directly. You don't need to go 17 generations from one Sufi sheikh to another, and somewhere along the line you might find a donkey or whatever that's teaching Sufism. So you want to avoid that entirely by just going to the source.
It's like the Mashiach hadith.
The
donkey of Rasul narrated to his donkey.
Like, you can go directly to the well and pull the water there instead of having to go from some random Sufi sheikh who you're not sure if he actually is. As Kareem said, he may not be fully baked. You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about someone being fully baked or not. Like, pie's already done. Islam's already finished, bro.
Yeah. And there's a big difference, as far as going back to the question of like attaching your identity to personalities. when we say, because the question was like, what's wrong with attaching our identity to a personality if you're doing it for their teachings and following them? Well, there's nothing wrong with that if you're doing it within the means and the guidance that Rasul told us, because Rasul told us to follow the teachings of the Salaf, right? He told us to do this, follow them to the best of ability. But there's a problem when we attach our identity to this labeled as a group. And like I said, it's more risky in the Sufi system, because you are literally attaching your identity to one individual, my sheikh, who's with you right now, who we know is not even the dust on the bottom of the sandals of these individuals that are part of the Salaf. So that's why there's an inherent risk to the Sufi way of attaching your identity. There is a risk with the Salafi, as we see with the Salafi extremists and the cult groups, that I'm Salafi. The thing is with Salaf, when you're talking about I'm attaching my identity to the Salaf, one, it's not one individual. It's a group of individuals, and you're gonna be forced to look at different opinions that they actually had amongst them, because not all the Salaf agreed on certain matters. There's differences of opinions. Not all the Sahabas agreed on certain matters. So you're kind of opening yourself up a little bit more to, being open-minded, not being a sect, but there is a risk to it as well. It's just a lesser risk. There's a difference between attaching our identity to a personality or a group and getting guidance and lessons and examples from a personality or a group, right? There's a big difference between that, because I can look at Mubarak, for instance, go back to Sheikh Mubarak, and like, he's a good example. I like the stuff he's teaching. I'm going to take his example and take his guidance and all that. But it's a whole nother step, and it's a different world when I say, I am a follower of Mubarak. Now everything else is gone. Everything else is the blinders are up. I only see Mubarak. And this is where we get down the road of shirk. And this is why we see some of these Sufi groups, they start making sajda to their sheikhs. They go to their graves. They do all these, because that actually becomes your God. And Allah talks about this in the Quran when he talks about the Jews and the Christians. What they do. Mubarak probably could do it in Arabic for us, but they took their priests and rabbis as lords. And it wasn't the fact that they were actually worshiping them. How did they commit shirk? By obeying them over Allah. We have the clear example.
Yeah, it is amazing how much on both sides you will see some. And the thing is, it is not even a thing where we're trying to bash either side, and we're not trying to bash the Salafis or the people who adhere to this or call themselves Salafis. I'll say I'll be one of the first people to say, listen, if you can be pretty safe with taking information from people who claim to be Salafi. They are a lot of times overboard on it being authentic. The authenticity of the information of the text. They will take stuff back to the text. A lot of times they have issues with manners, and they do some. Now there's some that go, and I call them super Salafis or whatever, where they actually are a gang. They're a gang and they're a cult, and they do all of the things that a gang and a cult does. Mm-hmm. They do all of the same things. If you ever watched a gangster movie or a documentary about the gangs, the Crips, the Bloods, the MS-13, whoever, they do the same stuff. It's the same type of hierarchy, the same type of check-in, check with me, work your way up, getting kicked out or having to get initiated in and, pay your dues and all that stuff, Mm-hmm. I take that back. Maybe not extreme as, where they literally beat people up to get in, but people do get beat up sometimes, messing with them.
There's violence. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I know a brother that would probably, maybe when we just do the Salafi thing, yeah, maybe I get him to come on, because he'll start talking about, he won't stop about how they literally would go around and just in the 90s in the mid 2000s, from like 1995 to about 2010 or so, man, just wreaking havoc everywhere they went. And you know, some of them are reformed, but it's bad taste still left in a lot of people's mouth about the way that they did in the communities that were broke apart, the relationships, even marriages. Marriages destroyed and all that type of stuff. So
he's off the manhaj.
Yeah, all that.
Yep. Another question we got that came in is when, and Mubarak, you touched on this a little bit, so I'm gonna go to you on this one. When, if ever, is it okay to attach oneself to something for distinguishing reasons? For instance, an infidel says, "I have a friend that is a Sufi Muslim. What kind of Muslim are you?" So is there any instances where it is okay to say I am this for purposes of distinguishing yourself from other stuff? Kind of like when you mentioned about the different sects, and you got to say,
I mean, for me, and I've said it before, and I would tell anyone to say, I'm a Muslim. A Sufi Muslim is someone who thinks that they have something above and beyond, better or attached to what Islam already came with. So I'm a Muslim. The Sufi has something extra that I don't believe is part of the religion. Am I going to say he's not a Muslim? I can't say that, but it depends on the individual basis. But I'm a Muslim. A Sufi Muslim is something else.
Yeah, I would say, you know, because there is, and I was thinking about this earlier. Maybe you guys can help me out with this concept. There's a term, not a term, or maybe there is a term for it. But for instance, Sufis originally, one of the ways they got the name. Actually, I'm gonna wait to actually call them because I don't want to give them any ammo anymore. I'll use Christians for example. Christians didn't come up with Christians by themselves. Right? Islam, we call ourselves Muslims because the law said you are Muslims, right? Mm-hmm. Christians, it was the word Christian or Christianity came from, it was a derogatory term used for people that followed Christ or a person claiming to be Christ. So they became Christians, right? So it was an identity that was assigned to them by outsiders, right? So there is this concept of like you get an identity assigned to you, but it's like I'm not claiming that. Like you can call me that if you want, but that's not me, right? I'll give the Sufi one away. How Sufi, the term Sufis, Sawif, whatever, it was actually originally assigned to them by people that would look at a certain group of people and how they behaved, how they dressed, and like, oh, those are the Sufis, right? And then at some point they're like, oh yeah, we are the Sufis. Right? The same thing the Christians said. Yeah, we are the Christians. Right? So there's that aspect of it. But then there's also the aspect of, I do get the distinguishing factor of it because that's how we got the term Sunni Muslims. That's how we got the term Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. So we could tell people like, yeah, we aren't Shiites. We aren't Khawarij. We aren't this and that. But I think that the only time it's like good to use that is when you have to distinguish yourself from somebody, right? It's like in that case, someone asks you, "Oh, what type of Muslim are you?" You're like, "Well, I'm the real." You first time, I'm the real Muslim, right? I'm, I'm this, and you can say I'm not that.
Yeah. But so I even look at and I know that you use that term a lot. I'm not knocking anyone who says Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, but to me, it's like. For me, having to say, yeah, I'm a Muslim, and a part of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, that's like me saying, I'm a man, I'm heterosexual, and I only have relationships with women. I mean, redundant. It's extremely redundant. Yeah. Because a Muslim is one who submits to the will of Allah. By definition, to even be a Muslim, you have to bear witness that there is no God where they worship except Allah, and that Rasulullah is his last and final messenger. That entails that you follow the Sunnah and you believe that whatever that he has infallibility in what he conveyed to us from Allah. That is the Quran and the Sunnah.
Yeah.
It's all built in. So for me to every time I say, hey, my name is Fulan, and I am a man, and I only I only marry women. And you classifying yourself and say, and I'm not gay, I don't like men, I'm not attracted
straight,
to them.
I'm heterosexual.
That's what that is. To say, you're married. No, let the crazy folks have the label them. Okay, that guy is a person who is a deviant Sufi, if he is one, or that guy is a Ahmadi or whatever it is. Give them the labels. We're keeping the pure, pristine label of we're Muslim. Yeah. And when they say, hey, this guy's whatever, we're gonna label him and tell him why he has that label and why the label is wrong.
You know what? Actually, it even makes sense when you're looking at it from the aspect of, because all these different labels and categories or whatever, and they may have come from good intentions of trying to distinguish the people that are on the best path or the main body of Muslims or whatever, but it also creates these boxes that does create sectarianism. So even if we go down the Aqidah route, I remember when we were talking to Kareem Kachanda, and he was he was stressing trying to figure out what our Aqidah was. Are you Maturidi? Are you Ash'ari? Are you Atari? And the thing is, right, and when you look at, and I remember, I'll remember this probably for the rest of my life when you said it's not that complicated. Because when you think about it, because I did a lot of studying into Aqidah and all that, especially in my journey outside of the cult to figure out what's the correct belief and all that. And you run into all these different, Aqidas, and you find that you'll hear the principles, you hear the things, and then if you're honest with yourself, you're like, yeah, most of this sounds right, but I don't agree with that. That doesn't sound right at all. This sounds right over in this. You basically you taken from all these different things, and there's just some people back in the day that really were just developing systems to try to debate or debunk the deviant sects, doing their best effort to do it, right? Okay, these people are using philosophy, and they came up with this whole different belief system that we ain't never heard of this before. So how are we going to debunk it? Okay, let's come up with a system to debunk it. And then we have the Maturidi, and then we have the Ash'ari, right? And then they get into their little, I'm an Ash'ari, and then they start going deviant, trying to explain more and more and more things. And then you have someone, I ain't with that now. I'm gonna be Atari, right? Mm-hmm. And then it keeps repeating itself over and over and over, where it's you're just creating these sects, you're creating these cults. Because I said, cults exist in all these different belief sets, whether it's a madhab, an aqidah, it's not so much, everybody has, but Salafi, Sufi, they exist everywhere. Mm-hmm. And so we're trying to warn people and try to get people out of that mindset.
And that's why I say, hey, listen, we're men. That's just, we're men. Anybody who's something special, got a sprinkle of something going on, let them have the label. And let's just be.
I'm a human, straight, heterosexual man.
I would basically play. So we have some comments here. On YouTube from One Up Slime. He says, Ibn Taymiyyah says, some people criticize Sufia and Tasawwuf, and they said they were innovators out of the Sunnah, but the truth is they are striving in Allah's obedience as others of Allah's people of the right hand, but slower in their progress. For both kinds, they might make ijtihad, and in that case, they might be correct, and they might be wrong. And from both types, some of them might be wrong. And from both types, some of them might make a sin and repent. And this is the origin of the Tasawwuf. And after that origin, it has been spread, and it has the main line and the branches. And it has three kinds. One, Sufia al-Haqi, the true Sufis. Number two, Sufia al-Azraq, the professional Sufis, those who use Sufism for personal gain. And three, Sufia al-Rasim, the outer Sufi by appearance only. Imam al-Dhahabi says, introduces another great muhaddith as translation. The Sufi, the Sheikh, and the truthful muhaddith, Abu Abdullah Ahmed ibn Hassan, bin Abdul Jabbar bin Rashid al-Baghdadi said, the great Sufi reference, book link, he has a link there. And then he says, I'm not calling again, not in the situation too. And then he says, y'all do know that Sunni scholars in their books define Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah as Ashari wal Maturidi.
Okay, we got oh, here we go. Go ahead. So again, you can't say, here's the definition of Sufism. Sufism is Sufism. And there's 3 types of Sufis. You didn't define what Sufi is. And I mean, all respects to Ibn Taymiyyah, I would ask him the same question if he came on our show and said the same thing. Ibn Taymiyyah, you still haven't defined for us what a Sufi is. You told us different kinds of Sufis, but I still don't understand what a Sufi is. Please explain to me what a Sufi is. And then I would also ask him, where in the Quran and the Sunnah does Rasul mention these 3 types of Sufis? So, I mean, we can pull cherry pick quotes from different sources, but, you know, I'm still waiting for someone to define what a Sufi is.
Someone said, don't throw out the baby with the bathwater, my brothers. You can refute the wrongs within deviant groups about disavowing the reality of the Tasawwuf.
What is the reality of Tasawwuf? Again, what is the reality of Tasawwuf? Because we've been doing this long enough. Like, and I hope people don't think we're just, you know, trolling or whatever. We are trolling a little bit, but I mean, the thing is, we're trying to get y'all to see, at least from my position, like I said at the beginning, and like Mubarak kind of elaborated on just now, these definitions in these groups are either redundant or deviant.
Oh, wait, Jaffer, we have an answer here. He says, brother, please listen. He says,
okay,
there is Sunni Tasawwuf and philosophical Sufism. Philosophical Sufism is when things get esoteric. What does that mean? And then some respond by saying, so y'all know more than Ibn Taymiyyah and Imam Bukhari.
Bayhaqi, I think it is.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't see that. Bayhaqi, yeah. Imam Bayhaqi.
We didn't say we know it more than anybody. I'm saying that you provided some quote from these individuals to answer to define Sufism, and you missed the mark. You didn't define Sufism. It's like me saying, Mubarak, explain to me what a basketball player is. And Mubarak says, well, there's centers, there's forwards, there's point guards, there's, you know, swing players, and sometimes you have people that sit on the bench, and then like, there you go. And this was said by Dr. James Naismith. And I'm like, okay, well, what the hell's a basketball player? You still haven't told me what a basketball player is. You just told me different types of basketball players. You know, come on.
And on top of that, I mean, it doesn't matter if Ibn Taymiyyah said it, Imam Bayhaqi, or anybody else. You can have 1,000 people. Those people are not evidences and proofs in and of themselves. If you say what they said, if they did say it, but whatever they say still has to be based on the evidence of Quran and the Sunnah, the words, the actions, the approvals of the messenger. It has to go back to that. So even if you say Ibn Taymiyyah said XYZ because of this ayah and that, otherwise it's just his opinion. It doesn't matter who it is, you know. And so that's how we have to get away from it. Even when you know, using the Ibn Taymiyyah thing, we have to get away from attaching to personalities. We love Ibn Taymiyyah. He gives great fatwa and lots of people. I'm not trying to knock him down at all. Oh, Allah, I mean, you know, may Allah accept all his efforts and everything. But to try to say, well, because we heard, or Ibn Taymiyyah said Sufism XYZ, okay, based on what hadith, based on what information? Yes, we want the information. Otherwise, I'm not following it. Now, if you want to just blindly follow Ibn Taymiyyah, go right ahead. Mm-hmm. But Allah is not going to ask you, you know, use that as an excuse if it's wrong. Well, because what you're supposed to do is what you're supposed to be doing is obeying Allah and following the messenger. No one else is included in that. Everybody after the messenger, including the Sahaba, they're all trying to direct you to what the messenger said. And the only thing the messenger Rasulullah is doing is trying to direct you to what Allah wants you to do. That's it.
Yes.
Everything goes, it squeezes down into that funnel. Everything goes back. So it doesn't matter who said it from when, where. Us talking on this show right now. It doesn't matter. Everything that we say, if anybody's going to take it and base some sort of religious decisions on it, it has to be because we tied it back to Allah and his messenger. Everyone is funneling back in that direction. So I say again, your sheikh, whoever your sheikh is, even if it is Ibn Taymiyyah, your sheikh is not a proof in and of himself. Your sheikh's statement requires proof. It requires proof. So if you say Ibn Taymiyyah said that the hadith XYZ ABC is a proof for whatever you're doing, actions and beliefs you're doing with the self, okay, then we can have a conversation. We can look at it. But if you just say, well, Ibn Taymiyyah wore a cloak from a Sufi, I'm sorry. I'm not basing nothing of my belief on that. It doesn't matter how great Ibn Taymiyyah is.
We have some guys giving they're starting to get closer to giving definitions, right?
You guys made a claim that there is no such thing as Sufism or Sufi in Islam. Have you heard of the hadith of Jibril? That is what the scholars use for the basis of the self. Yes, we've heard that.
Yes, we heard of the hadith Jibril. So let's go into it. Here we go. Right? Hadith Jibril. And if they're listening, they can answer. I would love for you to call in. I mean, you got enough time to text and type all that. You can click the link at the top and just call in and speak. Then we can have a conversation. Hadith Jibril. Long hadith. Let's skip to the end. Jibril alayhi salam asked Rasulullah, right? Tell me about ihsan. And he said it's to worship Allah as if you see him, and even though you can't see him, you worship Allah as if you could see him, even though you can't see him, you know that he sees you. Mm-hmm. I'm paraphrasing, not exact. And then the Sufis go, this is Sufism. Okay. The hadith describes ihsan, not Sufism. I could stop there. You just described ihsan. Okay? Secondly, if this is what Sufism is about, why aren't you called Muslims? That's the second point. You're called Sufis and practitioners of tasawwuf, not Muslims, practitioners of ihsan. Third point. Which of the Sahabas or which hadith where Rasulullah said the people that try to practice ihsan are the Sufis, or they're practicing not ihsan, they're actually practicing tasawwuf? You won't have an answer because none of them did. Okay? So that's the third thing. And then if you're saying this is the science of practicing ihsan, we have lots of sciences in Islam, right? Of how to practice our religion. We have fiqh, we have qira'at or tajweed and those sorts of things. You have sharia, you have tafsir. There's lots of sciences in Islam, right? Which group? Have you ever heard of the faqihs or the shari'is or the sunna'is or any of these groups that this is just Islam. So if you're saying the definition of Sufism is people that try to achieve ihsan, well, guess what? You just went and gave me a redundant definition because that's every Muslim that exists on earth. That's what we're doing here. So you didn't define anything. Okay. You just gave us, like you said, you just said, I'm a humanoid that is straight, man that's heterosexual. You just gave us redundant definition.
All right, let's see what else he has to say here. Tasawwuf is the science of purifying the heart from all lowly and simple characteristics and beautifying the outer and inner with the praiseworthy characteristics. It is the ihsan of Hadith Jibril. Sciences developed afterwards to codify the knowledge and define terms and methods similar to fiqh, saf, aqidah, etc. The companions did not understand the word fiqh as we do, similar to the other sciences. They lived with revelation. This knowledge was later codified. take the hadith in its entirety. Clearly, Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is laying out each aspect of Islam, outward pillars, iman, inward pillars, and ihsan, experiential pillars aspects.
They added that crap on experiential pillars. Experiential
aspects. When he saw some define Islam, he did not list them out like the other 2 points, Islam and Iman, but explained it in different ways, which is the reality of his experience.
No, he explained it perfectly how it was supposed to be explained. He said Ihsan is to worship Allah as if you see him, and even though you can't, you know he sees you. That's Ihsan, okay? And now to say, then transfer that over to something like this is the experiential part of Islam, right? And again, you still haven't escaped. How is this different than being a Muslim?
Listen, Jafar, according to him, he's saying you're using a word equivocation fallacy. All right, the concept is there. Right?
Okay, a word equivocation fallacy. Maybe you don't understand what redundancy means. If you're describing the definition of a Sufi is something that every Muslim does that doesn't claim to be a Sufi, you haven't defined anything at all. It's like let's make up a group, right? The R2Fes. The R2Fes, when I say what's the definition of R2Fe? An R2Fe is someone who submits to Allah. And it's the science of submitting to Allah. All right, isn't that just a Muslim? No. It's something different. You got to take bayat to the work.
This man said it really doesn't get any simpler than this. What ayah or hadith is the word Sufi or Sufism mentioned?
Mubarak? I know the answer too, but I mean, can you recite it for us?
And then he responds with so the rebuttal here is, where is the word tajweed in the Quran and the Sunnah?
Tajweed? I don't know.
He's basically saying like if Sufism isn't mentioned, you also don't have tajweed.
Okay. So
do we have a tajweed tariqa out there somewhere that I don't know about?
Yeah. Listen, what is the goal? Listen, like I said, every single time you can the conversation, either the person runs off, or you just asking this: what is the goal of Sufism? To get you closer to Allah, to purify the heart. Who was the best at doing that? Rasulullah.
You still use tajweed.
Rasulullah was the best at doing that. So how is it? So you say, well, listen, me sitting in this circle and okay, that is purifying the heart. So you figured out a way to purify the heart. Rasulullah either didn't know how to purify the heart. You found a better way. Not doing the adhkar, the actual praises of Allah that Rasulullah gave. You just found that this is a shortcut. Rasulullah didn't know it. Or he knew it, but he hid it? No.
Then he's not the messenger.
Wait, hold on.
I mean, his job was to give the information. That literally, that's like someone coming. They're paid to give you the information. Yeah. And then you got to figure, and I'm sure that's happened to us all the time, where we might have, it's been times where I had guys to come and do some work at my house or whatever, and I wound up doing the work. I had a guy come. He was supposed to put some drywall up in my bathroom, whatever. I'm asleep. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep. That I paid him so that I could sleep.
Yeah.
This guy's like, oh, I need your help. I had to help him hold the drywall. He didn't even come with a ladder. He didn't come with nothing. So I mean, it's like, dude. So this, you're basically saying, hey, Rasulullah, his only job. This was his only job. Was to guide you to the best, straightest path to Allah, with the most efficiency and the very best way. And he was the best one at it, but he hid that somehow your guy figured out. This is what we do. We sit in a circle with the lights off, and we dance in unison. We move in unison.
Experiences. Felt good doing it, so it must be the way to go. Those endorphins.
More to even get yourself in a tariqah. I mean, listen, who was better and closer to this the softening of the heart. Abu Bakr Siddiq could barely pray without crying. Did he have some, tariqa? There's no tariqa, for him. He didn't know the.
It's interesting because the members of the New Keller group that follow the Shidli tariqa claim that it traces back to Abu Bakr. I was like, why would you call it Shidli?
Not Abu Bakr or whatever.
Yeah, it's
crazy. Somebody way back in the day, or recently, I don't even know how far back it goes, but somebody named Shadili told himself, hey, listen, or somebody said, hey, we're attaching ourselves to that guy. That's where it starts. And that's who, and that is you're going to get the reward for following him, not the messenger. Just think of all these groups, the names of them. This Naqshbandi, whoever Naqshbandi is, where he's at, that's where your reward for your actions is going to stop. And so it's just like a bridge that's cut off in the middle of the water. You don't actually make it to the other side. So that's all that's going to happen. You know that the bridge doesn't even go there. It doesn't connect you to Rasulullah. It doesn't connect you to Allah. It connects you to Mr. Naqshbandi, Mr. Shadili, Mr. Tijani, or whatever the other, Jones y'all got. That's who it's connected to. And if you want to hitch your wagon to those people, just like the Ahmadiyya hitched their wagon to, Mirza Ghulam Ahmed. Okay, you call it, I'm an Ahmadi. Okay, take it, run with it. And wherever he stopped, that's where you're gonna stop. I wouldn't be that comfortable to stop there. Let's
see what else they say here. They said when Islam, Iman, and Ihsan are mentioned together, they are mutually exclusive. When they are mentioned separately, they are mutually inexclusive.
You still haven't met. Don't even finish reading it. You still haven't talked. Come on. You keep talking about Ihsan. I have no arguments about Ihsan. I'm talking about Sufism. You can't say I'm trying to define something, and then you're using a whole different concept to say, "Oh, this is what it means." And if that's what Sufism is to you, Sufism to you is Ihsan. Okay, fine. Don't call yourself Sufis anymore. That's stupid to me. Why would you call yourself Muslims? I'm a Muslim. But they don't want to call themselves that because when you say you're a Muslim, you're saying you're someone who has achieved Ihsan. Right? Which is kind of a bold claim.
It's been said that every Muslim by default is a mu'min and a Muslim, but not every Muslim is a Muslim or a mu'min in terms of reality of Iman in their heart. He told us to do dhikr. So what is the point you're making? You are equivocating all Sufis and making them monolithic. Then someone says, right now saying that some Sufis fall into bid'ah, but Sufis have proofs for their practices. They are found in several hadith. You act like these imams are speaking about proofs. You keep moving the goalposts. You're the one who mentioned, isn't every Muslim doing Ihsan?
Yeah, so I'm still waiting for his definition of Sufism that isn't redundant or not deviant. And still can't provide that. Just trying to go into debates about, what is Ihsan, what's a Muslim, these sort of things, whether we're supposed to dhikr, but in what manner are we supposed to dhikr? It's the same old, route that these guys go. There's nothing new here. And again, just brave enough to troll comment sections, which is kind of disappointing,
It doesn't seem sincere. First of all, how do we not seem sincere? We're asking you all to come and present your truths, all right? And for the most part, you're talking about what maybe the belief is kind of based upon, sort of, kind of. But the fact of the matter is, yes, that's great. You want to define it, but you haven't given a clear definition. Just at the end of the day, you can just be Muslim. It's as simple as just, hey, you can just say you're a Muslim. As a side note, I would like to ask the brothers here in the chat what Sufi sheikh they may follow. Is there a group you're a part of? Maybe we could speak to someone in your group and they can tell us about your group and what you guys got from your Sufi sheikh or whatever.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that too. And then I'd like to hear if to them, first I would ask them, are they Sufis? right? So if they say they're Sufis, then they say, yes, I'm a Sufi. And then when you ask, what is the definition of Sufis? And they go down this, Sufism is the practice of Ihsan. So are you saying that you have achieved Ihsan? Because you said you're a Sufi and you're saying Sufism is the practice of Ihsan, then if you're a Sufi, then you're someone who's practicing Ihsan. That means you achieved it. You know,
And
but
he
they're not
actually,
going to say that. They're going to say, "Oh no, we're aiming to do that." And again, we go back to the basics and say, "This is what all Muslims are supposed to do." So there's no need to separate and call it a different group. No need.
He said, "How is it redundant? You keep looking for the word Sufi. We already showed you the concept. I'm not in a group, but I'm Sunni, and Tasawwuf is 100% part of Islam."
Tasawwuf is 100% of Islam. Depends on what your definition of that is.
He said Tasawwuf is 100% part of Islam.
Yeah, it depends on what your definition of that is, right? Again, if your definition of Tasawwuf is trying to achieve Ihsan according to the Hadith of Jibreel, yes, that is 100% of Islam. How you achieve that, your practices may not be 100% of Islam, you know. But that's the conversation that we were trying to have. But again, these people are only willing to go into comments and type little statements that, you know, you can't get the full picture of what these guys are saying. They don't want to stand on solid ground, because a lot of these people, when you get them to stand on solid ground, it starts to fall apart. As he was seeing that his definition of Sufism was falling apart even by putting stuff in the comments. Is he still, you know, can't give? I'm challenging people, and we're going to kind of wrap up here. We're going to do this again. If you guys want to come on or tune in later, whenever we do a show like this again, we're trying to get people to give us a definition of Sufism that isn't redundant with Islam or is not deviant from Islam. And so far, the best that he's given is a definition that is redundant in Islam. And our whole thing is, our message to the people is, avoid sectarianism, right? Prophet Muhammad and Allah and Prophet Muhammad have warned us and cautioned us about sectarianism. When you assign yourself and identify with these groups that are out there, you fall victim to sectarianism. And it also opens you up to the risk of falling into cult groups and cult behavior. And you also fall into the risk of deviating from Islam altogether. So that's our warning here. There's no reason why to label yourself as a Sufi or become part of this Sufi group to practice something that is redundant with Islam, if that's your definition of Sufism. And if you can't have having a definition of Sufism that is redundant isn't that bad. Besides, it's actually worse to have a definition of Sufism that ends up being deviant from Islam, because that's where you're just following deviancy. So that was our message. You know, he thought this, you know, these guys think this is like a anti-Sufi, whatever. It's an anti-sectarian show. And then Sufism is a sect, whether you like it or not. Joining a tariqa, joining a special group, that's you're engaging in sectarianism. You know, at least admit that.
Yeah, absolutely. And just real quick, because we had another comment from a previous video. Listen, don't if you haven't if you haven't really done your research on us prior, maybe watch some of our interviews about our experiences and things that we have gone through, just seeing our show long enough. We're not here to attack anyone, but also we're not some bitter like scorned ex-Sufis. It's just not, this is not our MO. We're not here to really trash anyone. So people leaving comments talking about how we used to be Sufis and now we are just hardcore Salafiyah, we're hardcore Wahhabis, and we hate all Sufis. That is not true. I can say for my brothers and I, we don't hate anyone who calls themselves a Muslim, period. Just point back, like if you're a Muslim, we want the best for you. We want the best for your friends and family, all that stuff, right? We're trying to the best of our abilities, adhere to the Quran and Sunnah, all right? and the things that come with that. All right. So if we believe that, hey, you may be upon misguidance, or you may have gone a little wayward off the path, then yes, we would try to reel you in to the best of our understanding. And we would hope that if you have the truth, or you believe you have the truth, you can also come share it with us and tell us, hey, this is where you guys went wrong. Because contrary to popular belief, we're very open in criticism, right? All right, we're very open in criticism. We take it all the time. And we're trying to be better Muslims. That is the end all be all. All right. We don't have a holier than thou. All right. There is a Sufi somewhere out there, right, who is doing all the right things, alhamdulillah. All right. And he doesn't fall into bid'ah. He doesn't fall into some weird cult practices. He doesn't fall into the mythical, magical realm where he believes he can go see Allah. He doesn't fall behind the veil. So there's someone out there for sure. Right, we're not a RTF isn't a takfiri group. We just place takfir upon all the Sufis or the Wahhabis or the Sufis. That's not how we do. We're just trying to get to the bottom of this. Right, we have experiences in Sufism. That's how we grew up, sure, but we're not like this. Everything's terrible now, and we're just so hurt because we were abused in the Sufi cult. That's not what happened. You don't know us. We're clearly not. If you do, I promise you, we're not the hurt type. We're not the hurt type. So exactly. You need to get that idea out of your head. And listen, I do even commend you guys for even commenting. Some people just watch other lives and never speak at all. So even that, trying to defend your belief at all, that's a step. Because people will believe in Sufism or Salafiyya, or they'll be Ahmadiyya, whatever, and they won't even talk about it at all. It's just all hush hush. So we commend you for even doing that. So props to you all for even trying. If you do want to, just on a not as serious note, if you want to find a Sufi place to stand your ground and really hold firm to your Sufism beliefs, right? Because Sufism believes in like all these realms, right? Ulama Khan really is in Pakistan. You can't go stand there. And
that's the biggest shortcut that people don't even know about.
Right? If you just stand with Ulama Khan,
take a plane trip to Pakistan.
Like, but you know, in all seriousness, though, we do want the best for every Muslim, right? Yeah. That is in. I want every Muslim to get Jannah after those. I want people to be able to go and not have to worry about, dang, I really was a part of some nonsense because I followed so and so, a fulan or a fulana. I'm going to hell because I followed this person. When you could have just directly followed the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions. That's all you had to do.
Yeah. And on that note, I want to read this last comment because I think it kind of wraps up everything that we're trying to tell people. And it's what you just said, and Mubarak mentioned it earlier. Researching 101 said, if you tried to practice everything the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us to do, you would not have time to do any Sufi stuff some sheikh taught you. Islam will literally fill your day. I mean, that's a great way to kind of cap it off. And we're gonna do this again, and we appreciate people commenting on that. And don't worry, we're not gonna spare the Salafis. We're building up to our Salafi cult attack. We just got to get some more research. If they exist, but whatever. We're gonna get at them too. Don't even worry.
Listen though, if the Wahhabis get paid to spread the propaganda, listen. If you need a spokesperson, all right, I do take Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, Zelle.
Venmo, yeah. Listen. If you want to sponsor us to just go Sufi bash. If
you have gold dinars for me, I got you. Yeah. Premium gold dinars.
Some free Uber trips.
Yeah. And, some free Hajj trips, right? 5-star hotel at the Clock Tower. You know, then alhamdulillah.
We can talk. We can negotiate. You know what I'm saying? We got a small team. We don't need to be that expensive. We're not greedy.
Get about 7-8 of us. Alhamdulillah, wives included, kids maybe.
Listen. If we get a check, there will be signs. If we start showing up with full Gutras and
if I come in here with the freaking shimag like this,
crisp, all white.
Oh yeah,
you know it.
Alhamdulillah.
Yep. Open up with Sheikh Sudais, reciting every show.
Allahumma hdina fi man hadayt. Oh yeah, Allah.
Oh gosh. Don't speak bad about the rulers.
I'm about to say, don't talk bad about the Gulf states trying their best
They're
What's
doing
going
the
on?
best.
What's happening in Sudan? I have no idea. I haven't.
Yeah, what? Sudan?
Yeah,
Where's
is that even
Sudan?
real? Egypt, right? South Sudan? Yeah, I heard about
what
them.
are you talking about?
And they're who? News to me.
Oh,
Philistine?
Oh gosh. Yeah, so we appreciate everybody attending and joining in. And for people that watch this later, subscribe, turn the notification on, because we're going to do lives like this a little bit more, just to try, because we want to get engagement, we want to have conversations, because we don't know it all. We're laymen, we're trying to learn just like everybody else, and you could educate us. But that's it. See you guys next time.
Oh,
and
just
go ahead.
Just one more. Listen, if you happen to hear background noise, all right, listen. That's what happens when you are a straight heterosexual. You have children, all right. So if you have kids, they may be running around in the background making noise. Right? Just a disclaimer: people going forward for us being unprofessional or whatever. We have children.
And listen. Again, back to the potential Gulf state sponsors. We have been getting complaints about being unprofessional, so we need some money to get some professional studios in our house, right? Soundproof walls. My kids, you probably heard them out there skating in the back room. So listen, we're sorry, we're unprofessional. That's why we need your sponsorship.
Actually, what we need really is you guys need to buy houses, right? All in the same area. We have a studio that we go to for this,
Would it be, maybe we just need to start our own cult?
You know what?
Yeah, it'll be a good cult though, right?
Absolutely not.
Be a good,
You have to listen. You have to learn from the mistakes of others. All right. No one ever has a good cult. It's always like it's gonna be good at first, but at the end of the day, Joffrey, listen. There's money to be had there, all right? And these people want to donate to you generously. You can be the Joel Osteen of Islam. All right? So,
I need a private jet.
A private jet and a mega mansion.
Yeah. So, all right. Until next time, guys. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.